As we come into the fall, I am particularly mindful that this is charge conference season for United Methodist. That means it's our all church meeting. It's when we vote on the budget. It's when we nominate new leaders and we address big things in the church. And as we lead up to that conversation, it's not on the calendar yet, but probably later in November, I am mindful of various conversations that we as a congregation should be having. I want us to be deciding our future as a congregation. And I've been writing for a couple of months in our newsletter about the discernment process that's taking place over at Trinity United Methodist. That congregation closed and the church facilities have just been staying there empty. And we have been invited by the conference staff to evaluate if we could do ministry over there and what that ministry would be and how it would have a positive impact on our community. We've had roundtable discussions and had over 30 agencies and nonprofits come and talk with us and tell us about their work, the needs they see in the community, the gaps they're seeing, and what they could do with another building or another parking lot or another green space. And so we've been exploring and discerning. Our discernment team and those conversations are in the works where they might be ready for an all church conversation. And then simultaneously, we continue to be a living organism as a congregation. There are new things happening, there are old things happening, there's pruning happening. That's part of the life in the church, is sort of evaluating who are we and what are we doing. Some of those things were under constant review and revision. That includes our Wednesday night suppers that are now our second Sunday meals. Not a forever and always commitment to any particular day or time or meal or construction, but definitely a commitment to fellowship as the church and building our relationships together. And some of our outreach or missional ministries are due for a review for one reason or another. There are 3 core ministries that have been part of our work as a church for 8 or 10 or 25 years, and one that's been about 4 years. So we know that Columbia Elementary School closed. We've been partnering with Columbia Elementary for about 8 years. We've done the book drive and we've given every student 5 books to take home for the summer so they can read. We have volunteered in the classrooms. We've attended PTA meetings. We have done staff lunches. We have donated for their Christmases. We've donated for families in need and their hardship fund. We've given a lot, spent a lot of time and energy and effort there at Columbia School. And then as part of the school district, not part of us, that school was closed and those students were moved to other places. That means that our ministry with those students is changing shape. It's due for a reevaluation. What are we going to do now? Are we going to continue to invest in elementary age students? If so, will that be with a school or something different? Or is there a different value that we've been underscoring with that ministry that we want to highlight as we go forward and choose something new? A second area of ministry that's been part of us for a while is our ESL ministry. And we have dedicated teachers and assistants who have done a tremendous job. We've seen some shifts in our teachers over the years and some with our assistants. And what we're finding is the sustainability of our program and our current leadership is a question. They're not sure they can do it forever. Like most things, we can't do all things forever. And so we're entering a season of ESL this fall, but also mindful we want to have some bigger conversations. Are there enough ESL offerings in our community? Why do we do ESL in particular? What population are we serving? What do they need? How can we be most helpful? And particularly poignant for us, what is our congregation? What are we willing to commit in this way for these values and for this part of our community? That's a conversation for us to have. And then lastly, at the forefront for us is the Little Free Pantry. That came about because of and in the pandemic when people were being laid off of work, they were isolating at home, grocery stores didn't have the supply chain that they needed. And so the Little Free Pantry came about and we've stocked that and stocked that and stocked that and had thousands upon thousands of dollars of donations, both just actual dollars and in-kind donations, and have made a tremendous difference for those who are food insecure in our community. And at this point, our funds are starting to diminish. We have a small amount that comes in every month, but by and large, grants and donations came in sort of big chunks early in the pandemic, and we've just sort of been spending them down. We're at a point of reflection. Depending on how much we spend each month, that could last, what we have could last 3 months, or it could last 6 or 7 months. We need to decide, how long do we want to do this? And if we think, oh, well, we can't close in 3 months or 6 months, this needs to keep going, then we as a congregation need to decide, what are we putting into it? At what level do we want to spend and give and stock the Little Free Pantry? Is this the most effective way to reach the food insecure in our community, or are there other ways? Or do we want to do something different to be of good in our community? So those are some things that are popping up for us, and we're aiming towards some larger conversations. This week, we're sharing the information particularly about the Little Free Pantry so that you know where we are. I want to assure you, we are not at a panic spot. This is not a crisis. We are okay and will continue to be supplying food to our community. We have regular shoppers and regular stockers who have clear directions from us. And if this is a ministry we're going to continue, we need to be clear about why and how and with what resources we will do that. And if it's not a ministry we're going to continue, then we want to be clear about what we are going to do that is for the good of our community, so that we can serve in Jesus' name in ways that are practical and tangible for the most vulnerable here in the Wenatchee Valley. So if you have questions, please reach out to me. There's also an all-church letter that is being sent so that you have the same communication for everybody. I want you to know these are good, important, and necessary conversations for us to be having at our church. I'm actually really excited that we get to have them because they help us be intentional in our ministries. They help us better utilize your gifts, your financial gifts, as well as your time and your talents and your prayers. And I want us to be committed to doing good in our community and looking for the ways that are most effective and fruitful for us to do that. I look forward to more conversation with you, friends. Take care.